everyone! I'm super happy to be back and make this video, which will be more of a Q&A session about my internship at Itlos. So earlier this month, I did post a video giving you an insight of my internship last year at the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. And today I'm just going to answer a few questions about my time in Hamburg. But before I start, you know the drill. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to follow me on Instagram. Now let's start with question 1. How did I apply? Overall, the application process is rather simple. All you have to do is submit some documents, including a cover letter. But here is my first tip. You don't want to neglect that part because it would be silly for you to just fill your application because you couldn't gather all the documents. Also, you have different windows of application, so do check the different deadlines, and also do check the other services because you don't have only the legal department, you got also linguistics and the library. Now, the last thing about the application process, what I put in my cover letter personally is just what would this internship represent for me, what it would bring in my career, and also what I could bring to the alumni community. So overall, it did work for me. Maybe it's going to work for you, but just focus on what would this internship represent for you on a personal level, but also on a professional level, and what really motivates you to be particularly an intern at the tribunal and not maybe another tribunal. Our second question, how long does the internship last? Well, unfortunately, and yeah, I do emphasize that unfortunately, it's only 3 months because it may seem a lot for some of you, but actually when I was with the other interns, we were just saying how amazing it would be to just have 3 more months. So overall, 6 months of internship. That would have been really great because you have so much fun, but also you have a lot of work to do and to organize everything and to fully embrace every opportunity that you will have at the tribunal. That takes a lot of time, so 3 months is definitely too short. Now, question number 3. What is a typical day like and what task will you have at the internship? Well, like you saw in my previous video, basically your day is what you make of it. So you have different tasks, not only throughout the day, but also throughout the 3 months of your internship that you need to fulfill. For example, every Monday, one task that is rather permanent and very repetitive is that you have to prepare the press review with the other interns. Like I mentioned in my previous video, the press review is basically you gather and you research all the information you can find on Law of the Sea that are updated, I would say, for the week. And you compile them, and then at the end of the day, they will be published and the whole tribunal and staff will be able to read it. Except from that, on the side, you have your own research paper. So you have to pick a topic, of course, in the area of the Law of the Sea, and just write about it for 3 months. Do as much research as you can, because at the end, you will have to publish potentially your article, or at least it will be on the tribunal website for people to see. And on top of that, you will have to make a presentation in front of the legal department and the judges. Aside from these tasks, you also have daily tasks or weekly tasks given by your supervisor or other legal officers that require you to research some point of law for judges or just for a case or for something in particular, or you may also have to work on the judges of the tribunal. So my advice here is that you can see you have a lot of things to do in 3 months, and since you're the one who's actually organizing your agenda, this can be very tricky. So just for the research paper, that's the one advice I can give you because I went through it. Don't underestimate it and start from day one if you can. Like, even just find a topic or just go and browse in the library what you're gonna pick as a subject, and there's just research as much as you can. The legal officers are super nice and supportive, so they will also guide you. All right, you maybe need to take more of that angle because this is lacking, or actually that is great, and you can emphasize here is some research that I also found, some papers. Also the staff of the tribunal, I remember willing to write on a particular topic, and a staff member did come to me and said, like, look, there's a conference about this actually this month, so do you want to attend? Of course it was virtual, but still it's still, you know, some research and some content that you can introduce in your research paper. Now, what I liked about this internship, Well, there are a lot of things I like, but there are also some things I disliked. But overall, what I liked was definitely to be free to manage my own schedule. Like I mentioned previously, your day is what you make of it. So, of course, you have different tasks, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly, or throughout the whole internship. But at the end of the day, it's really like a law firm, and that's why I feel like it was a really great experience because I got different tasks to achieve and different deadlines, but I had to learn how to prioritize, which is a very useful skill, and to make sure that I manage to do everything on time. And it becomes very tricky when you have urgent tasks that just come up and you have to actually deal with them. But it did happen to me, which was quite exciting. It just adds something a little bit more to your day. But except from that, yeah, it's definitely a useful skill for you in the future. Another thing I definitely loved about my internship was the knowledge I got from it, because not only you get to research for 3 months on a topic that you pick, but you also get to broaden your horizon, I would say, because you get to attend lectures given by lecturers all around the world. And I know personally I wouldn't get the opportunity to get those lecturers giving me, I would say, 2 hours of their time to teach me about environmental law or finance law. Yeah, you don't only have anything related to maritime, but you also have a lot related to law in general. I remember we had a teacher from Edinburgh and also for Cambridge, and also from Swansea. Yeah, I was so happy to see my old teacher back. But it was just amazing to have all these people being gathered, and also I felt like it was a bit of an exclusive lecture because I think we were only 9 or something in the class, and we had the interns, but you also had Nippon Fellow, which is another program I also invite you to check on the website of Itlos because it's very interesting. And yeah, so it was a really nice thing that I got to get those lectures. One thing I really loved about my internship, and I want to emphasize so much on that, is the networking opportunities. And that's on 2 levels. The first level is that working every day with legal officers and judges that are so accessible is really a lifetime opportunity. They come from all over the world, have so much experience, and so like all the experiences are so different that just talking to them gives you that insight somehow of I would say a law firm in that country or this system, because some people work for the state. So you have all these different experiences combined, and that gives you a really good information about potentially what you want to do in the future. They have really, really useful tips, and yeah, they're super approachable and very helpful. On the second level, it's that as soon as you're an intern at the tribunal, you're part of the alumni community, which is amazing because you get, for example, to have presentation almost every week. I left the tribunal last year and I'm still getting access to those presentation, and it's always super good to just meet new people, new incomers, or people who were here before you, and of course to see your friends that you had the internship with. The 2 last things, I'm gonna try to sum it up, but this is really, I think, my most favorite part of this adventure. It's the human side of it, the social side of it, because despite being in a foreign country, so Germany, I felt at home, which was weird, but that is only thanks to the press office, which was so caring for us. Really, I mean, they made me feel like home, and from the start, I was just talking to them openly. They made me feel safe and that I could trust them. Not only to speak about, I would say, if I felt pressured during the work, like, oh, I really feel like I can't do this, or do you think I can talk to this person, but I don't really know how to approach them. At the same time, when it came to personal things outside of work as well. So if, for example, you have an issue with the accommodation and everything, they're super open and very helpful and so supportive. And yeah, it is an aspect, you know, for those 3 months, mostly during winter in Germany, and that was like a bit hard for me, but still, you know, it's super important that you have this support locally for you, and they're definitely the people that are there for you and have your back. And the second part, I know it's gonna sound super cheesy, but I love my girls. So the thing is, as you know, in my previous video, you saw 3 other interns that had the internship during my internship, and yeah, I miss them so much because we had such a great time, and luckily we did get along pretty quick, And I still talk to them, and I can't wait to hang out with them again, but it's so complicated because they're back in their countries and we're all separated. But yeah, I really miss them. I really do. So last question, do you have any tip for the internship? Yes, I do. I got plenty of tips, but I'm gonna try to be brief. My first one, and I do insist on that one, is don't discourage yourself. Again, I told you in all my videos, don't be your own enemy. Personally, I didn't think that I would get it. When I applied, I had no confidence whatsoever that I would get it. And when I got it, I was like, what if I didn't apply? What if I just discouraged myself and felt like my grades are not the best, my CV might not be, wow, amazing compared to other. It is competitive. That's the truth. It is competitive, like everything we're doing, at least in this industry and in other industries. But you know what? I don't regret any second applying because in the end I got it. So even if you don't get it the first time, who knows? Maybe next year you will. Don't forget, and maybe you know, or maybe you don't know that, but it is an international organization. So there's also the question of knowing from which country you're from, because they can't always take, for example, interns from France every year. You know what I mean? So it also depends on what candidature they're getting, on what profile, and also giving a chance to a bit of every country to get their bit. So don't discourage yourself. It's not because, for example, a French intern was there last year or at the previous session that you're not going to get in. Maybe you will get in because you're different from that person. So when you're doing your candidature, two things really. Just firstly, say how much this would mean to you. That's what I did. It worked for me. Maybe it will work for you as well. But really say how passionate you are. What would this mean for you personally? What can you bring to the alumni community? Okay, and second, it's also linked with the first one, but second point is how different are you? If you think you're pretty average, well, being average is good, but you must have different things, you know, things that differentiate you from other people. Don't think about weaknesses, but think about your strength. What makes you special? And really emphasize that in your candidature. So my second advice is regarding wardrobe malfunction. I know, not the biggest advice, not the most fascinating one, but still it's important because it's a common question. What are you going to wear on your first day to work? And also, what are you going to wear the next days? Because even if you figure it out for the first day, make an amazing impression, you want to keep that impression and also look good and neat in case you have lunches or you meet a judge, or also just when you report to your legal officer. So yeah, that's a very important question. Now at the tribunal, it's rather formal. For guys, suit or even a cardigan, anything you feel comfortable with. For the girls, it's the same, anything you feel comfortable with that looks formal, but no jeans, of course, no flip-flops, no anything like that, but I think that's rather obvious. Now the big question for girls, high heels or no high heels? Well, personally, I love to wear high heels, but as you may have seen when I was walking in my previous video, throughout my whole journey to the tribunal, you can't wear high heels. First, because it's too far. Second, because the roads are not meant for that. And I come from Paris with pebble road. So trust me, if you want to break an ankle or at least try your luck, that's the best way. And after all, the last one would be it's muddy. It's very green, it's beautiful, but it's definitely not the best friend for high heels. So what are you going to do? Well, the advice I'm going to give is not rocket science. I think a lot of you already do it. Is just store some shoes at your work. I come in my Adidas or Puma like every morning, at least I did, and I would just change there. Sometimes I even do it here in the office in my new job. So yeah, that's definitely a good tip that you should follow. Just always prepare a pair of high heels so you think like, okay, I will feel good, at least for my lunch. The last advice I'm going to give you is work related this time. It's regarding the task. So, like I told you, you have different tasks, different deadlines, a lot of things to do, and maybe you will not get your head on it, but still. What you need to do is communicate. Communicate with who? Communicate with the interns, communicate with the tribunal staff, but mostly communicate with your supervisor. They are impressive, I'm not gonna lie. All the legal officers, mostly when you check their CV, are really amazing, but they're friendly. They're very approachable, and also their advice are super precious. So don't hesitate. I'm personally quite shy, mostly when I don't know someone, and when I feel like, oh, I'm gonna look like a fool if I ask that question. Well, guess what? Don't. Really, communication is key, and you're working in a team. with your supervisor. Of course, they're supervising you, but it's really important whenever you have a task, you ask the deadline, because it's going to help you at the end of the day to prioritize your work and feel like, okay, is this really urgent or not? You can't guess if it's urgent unless you ask, and that's valuable for any work you're going to have. So at the tribunal is the same. You have to ask your supervisor, is this really urgent? They will say yes or no. If no, then you still ask, well, is it okay because I got this? You update them on what you're doing currently. Can I do this a little bit later? If they tell you no, then you know that's on your top list. If not, then you can wait a little bit longer. But communication is definitely key, and trust me, any legal officer is super nice and approachable, and they do give really, really precious advice when it comes to your career. Now that's all for me. I hope you liked this video and that it helped you or even encouraged you to apply for this wonderful internship. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, do message me on Instagram or comment below on this video. But I highly encourage you, if you have any deeper question or specific question, don't hesitate to contact the Itlos Internship Program Coordinator and the press office to just ask them any questions that you have. They're super helpful and supportive. Till then, I invite you to check my upcoming videos, follow me on Instagram, and check out my blog.